Did you know that it's required by the Constitution, by the supreme law of the land, that each officer in the state and in the federal government take an oath? Most of us don't even know that. Well, that's documented in here as well. And first I will preface that by, I've been reading John Adams' biography. And he said that there's no middle way. And that's how I feel. There's no middle way on this, but there's a smart way. We have to be tactful. We have to have a plan to make sure we follow it. So forget Washington, D.C. If any of you are spending time or money on Washington, D.C. politics, you're wasting your time and money. But do you know that we can get just 1 or 2 people in the county and you can have your Constitution back? Just 1 or 2. Actually, you can do it with 1, but we hope he has more backup than that. But you're his boss, and he needs to hear from you. And we're actually starting this, and this thing's going a lot bigger than what you can possibly imagine. We're going to identify 900 sheriff races for 2010. And we're going to make sure that there's a constitutional sheriff running in 900 races across the country. Does that give you an idea? Now that's something you could donate to, okay? Because I'm going to start doing this full time. And we're going to get others to do what I'm doing, and we're going to vet candidates, and we're going to go out there, and we've got people from national organizations that have called me, and I'm meeting with them in Atlanta next weekend, right a week from today. That's where I'll be, in Atlanta, meeting with these people to start this, because they heard about this book and this movement, and they're leaving the national scene to start concentrating on sheriff races nationwide. We're going to do this, but it's got to start with you, okay? The people are the most powerful resource in this government, and that's where we're going to go. The middle way is no way at all. John Adams said to Horatio Gates at the Continental Congress, if we finally fail in this great and glorious contest, it will be by bewildering ourselves in groping for the middle way. We're not going to compromise. We're telling people right up front that this is a peaceful movement out of love for our country and our families. Just like Stuart was saying, we don't want war, we don't want to fight, but I guarantee you the federal government, and I know this from personal experience of the 8 years I was sheriff, they do not want to fight with the sheriffs. I guarantee you they do not want to fight with the sheriffs. That's the thing we take and use to start changing this paradigm of thinking that we have to go along. Again, the fate of our country is in that. If the sheriffs keep their oath of office, we get our Constitution back, the feds get off our back, and we have America back and restored. Look at the possibility there. If your sheriff, you're going, oh, my sheriff won't do it, then we get somebody to run as a constitutional sheriff against that guy. And this can start happening. There's a lot more people that are getting woke up now because of the current administration that will jump on board with this. I mean, how many of you thought Montana would ever make that law that's totally threw the gauntlet down to the federal government about protecting gun businesses in Montana? That's huge. That's brave. That's right. That's exactly right. Now, we're going to go over this really quickly as best we can. Now, I have a few copies of this. This is the actual decision written by Justice Scalia. This is Mack Prince. This is, okay, Jay Prince right here, Richard Mack right here. This is it. Justice Scalia delivered the opinion of the court. Now, I'm not going to go through that per se, but what I've put in the book, we are going to go through that, okay, that part. So, yeah, open your book to the, if you have the book there handy, we're going to start on page 1, the introduction. And right down at the very well, the second paragraph and about 4 lines down, it's a quote from Thomas Jefferson. And it says, I hope you all are there. It starts with the quotes. When all government shall be drawn to Washington as the center of all power, it will render powerless the checks provided and will become as venal and oppressive as the government from which we separated. Talking about King George III. Okay, the question now, when government becomes venal and oppressive, we already know, I mean, Stuart covered this already. We already know that government's venal and oppressive. They don't think they have any limitations whatsoever. There is no constitution in their way. They can do whatever they want to us. So where do we go for redress? Washington, D.C.? We already covered that. Don't get off track again. Remember, we're focused locally and on the Constitution and the oath. So we go to our sheriff and we ask him the same question. The first thing is, when you're educating him, ask him to read the book. It's only 49 pages. Anybody can read this. There's no excuse for not reading this, is there? I don't have time to read. I can't read. You know, you got 25 minutes. You can read this while you eat a donut, Sheriff. You know? Say that to any of the cops out there. Okay. Ultimate protection is what we're after here. Okay? You need to understand, basically, philosophically, the book points out two things. The one thing, there's 2 sets of wolves. One is the wolf that comes from the street. The other wolf is the wolf that comes from Washington, D.C. They both compete for the same thing: our property, our lives, our families. The only thing, though, you have a better chance with the one that comes from the street. They give you a little bit of a fighting chance. The one from Washington, D.C. doesn't. Okay. I need to tell you just real quickly a little bit about, I want you to understand my conversion to the Constitution. I wasn't born a constitutionalist. I wasn't born in a patriotic home. My wife was. I wasn't. I was a street cop in Utah. That's my picture when I was a sergeant with Provo Police Department. When I was a rookie cop, I just finished working undercover. And you can go to my website, sheriffmack.com. It shows my undercover picture there and all that. After my undercover assignment, I really started questioning what we were doing in law enforcement, especially the drug war, which is probably the second most ridiculous, farcical, ineffective policy since the establishment of the IRS. Okay? Now, be that as it may, I'm in a department and in a career and job that really wants you to bring in numbers. Okay? We didn't really have quotas, even though actually Provo PD has established quotas since I've left that department, which I never thought I'd see, because it's so blatant in showing what cops are really after. Numbers, money, revenue collection.
Was this under Chief Nielsen?
Yes, Swen Nielsen. Great guy, good man. But the department was numbers oriented. That's all there is to it. We were actually interviewed by our sergeant. How many tickets you going to write this month? You know, how many misdemeanor arrests, how many felony arrests, you know, and that's your goal. You're out there trying. And they're patting guys on the back that write the most tickets. Ooh, 35 tickets in one day. Yeah, that officer's already, he's going to be the first one promoted. He's always patted on the back, always getting the commendations, because they're always out there busy doing something. What? Collecting. On the backs of people, especially now, they're increasing tickets now, because governments are having a hard time balancing their budget. So who are they doing it on? The backs of the people who are already having trouble economically as well. Shameful. Just absolutely shameful. So I'm back in uniform for a little bit after this, and I'm writing a lot of tickets one day, and I'm at, anybody knows Provo, I'm at 300 South, 600 West, right next to Franklin Elementary School. And Provo, I'm telling you, in the fall can be beautiful, and this was a beautiful fall evening. And I'm sitting there filling out my DAR, my daily activity report, kind of finishing the slash marks on the tickets I'd already been writing.